Mr. Savinock apparently is having a long period of time of domestic violence with his wife. The horrible violence. He walks in, he talks to her, he pulls out a knife and stabs her that numerous times. And he stabs her in the chest and in the stomach, knowing that she's carrying his baby. He said things like, I knew that she was pregnant. I was trying to kill her. It passes all understanding how one human being can be that way to another human being.
Tonight, Eugene Savinock is charged with 2 counts, first-degree murder for the death of his wife and the unborn child. She was pregnant when he allegedly stabbed her. Back with Jenna, Mark, and Yodit. Now, Mark, the baby technically survived outside the womb, so is that what allowed the state to push for murder of the child as well, or would it have been murder even if that child had not been born, technically?
In most jurisdictions, all you do is get to the age of viability. And so there may be a fight about that once you're inside the courtroom. But basically, if the development is such that the fetus is then deemed to be viable, then that's a separate count of murder. And that's in most jurisdictions. There's some notable exceptions. But here in California, for instance, I've both defended and prosecuted cases involving a mother and a child. And that's the fight that you usually have.
According to the Chicago Tribune, a protective order Luba filed in 2014 details an alleged assault by the husband, which she described as a, quote, 45-minute wrestling bout that left her bloodied, bruised. Online records indicate that her husband was on a college wrestling team. Jenna, now, so we're looking at the husband now. Is there anything, you can't... I get a little, no, I'm not sure I can even do this. I think about things like bipolar disorder, and we talk about personality disorders, but this is criminality, is it not?
It is. I, too, was sort of looking through his history today to see what I could find. And I think what Luba's brother said is a good indication of, maybe a good indication of who he was. And, certainly was there an episode of sociopathy? It looks like it. I mean, it's not normal to want to stab your pregnant wife.
Right. No, you're right. And it belies an absolute empathic failure and inability to understand anything outside of your own sphere. Everything's about you. So other people don't really have agency or exist. So it then becomes axiomatic that you can take their life if you wish. Now, according to the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, murder is the second most common cause of injury-related death for pregnant women. Car accidents are number 1. Yodit, this isn't surprising, is it? It's a vulnerable period during pregnancy.
Absolutely, and it shows how or what a coward this person is, and abusers are. They want to keep the wife, the girlfriend, the significant other in a vulnerable position in order to overpower them, to show that power that they have over them. And yes, why not attack a woman when they're pregnant? Absolutely, it's a show of weakness so that they can feel strong. On
the phone, I've got Christina Del Piaz. She's a domestic violence survivor, also an expert. All right, so Christina, pregnancy is one of the leading causes of death, is violence and men. And, usually these guys are systematic in how they demean somebody and gain coercion and control over them, no?
That is absolutely correct. They are so fearful. In the case of pregnant women, the women are starting to put their focus on the baby. And so for a temporary stay, he doesn't have control over her mind. She's able to distract herself and feel joy and happiness. And part of the cycle of this is extortion. He wants her to be afraid. And it sounds like what I saw in some of the articles is that she was getting her life together. She was studying to be, a real estate agent. She was already leaving him emotionally, and he got afraid. He was afraid, and he had to get the control back. He said something to the effect that she was going to take away my kids, and I think what that really means is she was going to take away my domination. She was going to take away my one bargaining chip that I could keep to keep her in control.
You've been through this personally. When did your ex escalate with you?
The day after we got married. He put his dish in the sink instead of the dishwasher, and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Now that we're married, you can do that." And it just went downhill from there, where I had knives put in my throat, and I came home 15 minutes late from work one day, and he had taken a shotgun and blew out all the kitchen cabinets. And he kept telling me, you know, if you'd just talk nicer to me or if you'd say it this way. And so I would try desperately to do it the way he wanted. And one day I repeated verbatim what he told me to say, and he destroyed the whole bathroom, and I thought I was going to lose my life.
That was your bottom. That was your bottom, right?
Yeah.
That's when you got out. Christina, do you agree with what the victim here, his brother, was saying, that we all have a role to play in this in terms of cultivating these kinds of circumstances and abusers?
I absolutely do. In the work that I've been doing, I've taken the word victim and perpetrator out because victims don't want to be ashamed of who they are, and they want to protect their abuser. So I've been using the words unhealthy habits, unhealthy behaviors, and I'm here to make things better, not to judge you. And I think that has worked remarkably well because they want to protect their family. They don't want to feel like they're stupid. And I think that the role that we play in judging them, I mean, this guy had a restraining order. In my opinion, he had a job he probably went to. Why didn't they pick him up? When he showed up on the Facebook page, why didn't they pick him up? We are putting police officers on back streets to collect ticket money when they could be out picking up these people who are actually doing this to families and hurting their children.
Christina, thank you. Next up, George Zimmerman sells the gun he used to kill Trayvon Martin. Then he tees off on Trayvon's parents. And still to come, loving